Think of a body of water like a river, lake, or even an ocean that's filled with plastic debris like this. What would be the best way to pick it up? Well, one way would be to use a drone like this. Not every cleanup job can be docked to a canal wall. Some tasks need a little muscle, or in this case, mobility. That's where RanMarine comes in, a company that designs robotic cleaners that roam freely, swallowing waste like some sort of mechanical predator. Think Pac-Man, but instead of chewing on digital dots on a screen, it's chomping on floating trash at sea. They're built for ports, harbors, lagoons, basically anywhere pollution drifts where hands can't reach. Compact, sleek, remote controlled, or autonomous. And behind all that engineering, a team that sees water cleanup not as a one-off fix, but as a system. One of those minds is Bart de Vries, RanMarine's Chief Operating Officer, and he took us on board RanMarine's largest water drone, dubbed the WasteShark, which can be operated from the deck and remotely.
Yeah, so the device has a computer on board, obviously. The information comes in from various sources. The chief navigational method is GPS. GPS enhanced with RTK, which makes it much more precise. We use a combination of two GPSs actually, so that you can actually also determine the direction of the vessel by the two GPS points. Then the IMU gives you the gravitation and the magnetic field of the Earth. So that is the heading again, and out of those pieces of data, it figures out the most accurate way of the direction and the position. Then the information coming in from the LiDAR tells it what is around it. So as it's going from GPS point to GPS point, so waypoint A to B to C to D, it needs to make adjustments, right, for things that might be in the way, like another vessel or a dock or whatever it may be.
Let's talk about the beast that we're on.
Yes.
The capacity for waste on the WasteShark is about 10 times that of the WasteShark. What were some of the engineering hurdles that you had to overcome when you're scaling up?
There's various things. I mean, the basics of course are the same, right? It's a catamaran, there's a basket in between, but you have different batteries, engines, because the power dimensions are of course very different. The other thing is that this basket, there are a couple of variants of it. This variant you hoist with a with a crane from the side, because obviously you can say I'll make the basket 10 times the size, but that'll also be 10 times the amount of trash, which is 10 times the weight. And we're making a variant where actually you insert smaller baskets in this, so that you can lift it by one person, like in case you don't have a crane, right? Yeah. So it's a bit like that in the sense that for different use cases, you will have to modify this according to what what our customers want to do.
Back on land, it was time to take the controls myself. It may look small, but this drone is making a big splash. Inspired by the WasteShark, the WasteShark is designed to glide across the water and scoop up floating waste. The drone is fully electric, making it both eco-friendly and quiet. Operators can drive it manually or set it up to run pre-programmed routes, cleaning the same area again and again. The WasteShark isn't just effective, it's remarkably simple to pilot. If you've ever handled a remote-controlled car or piloted a drone, the controls are very similar. With onboard sensors and even LiDAR, it avoids collisions with animals and walls while covering its mission path. And beyond cleaning, it can also gather data, giving cities and scientists a smarter way to keep waterways clear. In a matter of minutes, I was steering it through the lagoon like a veteran. And as I'd find out, that's exactly the point. Make cleaning up intuitive and scalable. To better understand RanMarine's full mission and where it's headed, the man behind the company met me by the water. CEO and founder Richard Hardiman has big plans for these little machines.
We started off with a very noble kind of, we want to take plastic out of the ocean or out of the water with these things. But once we were there, we realized that it's not just plastic that's causing issues. It's agricultural runoffs and nitrate into our water that's blooming more algae than ever before. Oil is a massive problem. Incidental oil spills with our kind of things, imports, those things need to be cleaned up. So we basically ended up with a platform that is robotic, that can be equipped with various different types of accessories, that gives people access to cleaning up that pollution, whatever that pollution may be. So it was a very noble idea to start with. I think, save the planet, clean up the waste. But as we saw greater adoption by different markets, we realized that actually as a platform, this thing has a really big legs for us commercially.
Different markets means a lot more of these drones, hundreds, if not thousands. And I know that's some of the things that you're thinking about. Talk to me about some of the challenges, manufacturing, finance, logistics. These are some things that you need to...
All of those are massive challenges, and especially with the new innovative products. So until these things become ubiquitous and people are just technically buying them off the shelf, you have to explain, walk the customer through it, why it's better, what it does, train them on how to do it. So you start off with a very thin edge of early adopters, as most products would do. But as we get bigger, as we start sort of realizing that, a lot of our business is inbound. People are starting to realize that these things are very useful. So we are lucky in the respect that it comes to us rather than us having to go out there. There are people looking for these tools, but you've got to sustain yourself financially while you go through that period. R&D, these things never existed in the world before we started this. In 2016, we were the only company. Now we're one of 5, which is great, shows the market space. But for us to get there over those 6 years, to become commercially viable, that took a lot of cost. And now our problem is thankfully scaling.
You have multiple SKUs. I'm wondering how you sort of prioritize R&D, which you were just mentioning.
Yeah, it's a tricky thing because you want to. R&D is fun, and we see lots of different uses and lots of different markets and how we can access them. If we do a bit of R&D here, if we do a bit of R&D there. I'm particularly guilty as a kind of an entrepreneur wanting to do everything and magically create it. Fortunately, we've got a lot of clever people working for us, so let's just make it step by step. And I think that's benefited us over the last couple of years, where we're more focused on what we're doing, maybe less R&D on the bigger events, but on the smaller events to be able to accessorize things into our platform. So from that point of view, it's fun to do R&D, but when you need to become a business and commercialize, you need to kind of focus on those more sort of revenue generating kind of products.